What is up, YouTubes? Mountain Man Magic, and the talk of the town is Commander 2019 Precons. The spoilers are done, we've seen the deck lists, and they look pretty great. Honestly, big fan. But for those of us that didn't pre-order all of them, or maybe don't have the budget to pre-order all of them, maybe you're on the fence, you're trying to figure out which one or two you want to buy. I'm going to run through each, the cards I'm most excited for, the ones that I think are worth highlighting, and hopefully that will help you decide which ones to spring for and add to your collection. Let's get into it. I want to start with the variable that I think is at the top of everyone's mind, and that's the value that is in these precons. Now, granted, if you look at the MTG Goldfish prices, they're going to show all of these at over $200 a piece. That's in large part due to the fact that each of these new cards are given like a $5, $10, $20 price designation because we don't really know where they're going to end up. But the takeaway from here is that clearly Wizards has increased the value. The two things I'm probably the most critical on are the land bases leave something to be desired, and there's not that high value reprint in each that I was expecting. I was expecting at least a $15, $20 card in each. We got a lot of 5 and 10. Clearly Wizards has upped the value in these, but with the comments they made post 2018 criticisms that we were going to get more. And something that I was happy to see them include are a lot of the strong, I'll say fundamentally sound cards for Commander are Ash Barrens, Sol Ring, Command Tower, Thran Dynamo, Exotic Orchard, and Myriad Landscape. And that's great because these are cards you're happy to play in just about every and any Commander deck. So it's nice to see these precons giving you those type of cards. Clearly the value has improved. But what about the power of the decks? What about their synergy? How well do they play together? I say let's take a closer look at each, see what makes them unique. I'll do it in order that they were spoiled. Starting with Faceless Menace, the game plan here revolves around face down and morph cards, which you can pick up on as soon as you look at Kadena, Slinking Sorcerer. Other commander options included in the deck are Volrath and Rayami, who go in a different direction, have me thinking more Voltron type strategies. In Sultai, which is certainly different, but pretty cool. This deck has all kinds of awesome cards, including some reprints like Vraska the Unseen, Template Discovery, and Seedborn Muse. These are all nice, valuable reprints that are at least above $5, and cards, again, you're happy to play across other Commander decks. Then the new cards I'll highlight are Apex Altasaur, which seems hilarious and all kinds of fun. Plus, if you can combo it with flipping up Morph of Doom, you get a pretty sweet board wipe in black and green by attaching it to Apex Altasaur and letting it eat all of your opponent's creatures. And Sudden Substitution, I'm a big fan of right now because I assume the first time people read it, you're going to get a whole lot of confused looks. Cards I think look obnoxious in this deck include Leadership Vacuum. It just seems pretty feel bad for Voltron strategies or someone who hasn't ramped as well as green typically can. So I'm curious to see how this card performs in a game. Pendant of Prosperity is amazing, especially if you can regain control of it and get all kinds of card advantage. And Scroll of Fate is absolutely obscene, basically giving morph creatures flash without the ability for your opponent to interact with them before you flip them face up. All in all, this deck seems very strong, well put together, and the face of Faceless Menace, Kadena, brings all kinds of synergy and the always appreciated card draw to this deck. With this being the first one spoiled of the 4 precons, I think it's safe to say the power level of these has also been increased as well. Next up is Mystic Intellect and their front-facing commander, Savine the Chronoclasm. The mechanic of this deck is Flashback, which you quickly realize reading that Savine copies all of our flashbacked spells, which seems pretty good. Our other commander options are Elsha of the Infinite, which looks absolutely bonkers, allowing you to cast non-creature, non-land cards as though they had flash off the top of your library. And the other, crazily enough, is a legendary Wall, with some rather funny political undertones that I'm sure some folks will brew up all kinds of good times with, and the artwork is pretty sweet too, and should not be looked over. Top reprints include Ralzeric, Ghostly Prison, Clever Impersonator, and Sun Titan. Some of the new cards I'm most excited about are Jared Weatherlight Hero because there seems to be a lot of potential brewing with him. Wall of Stolen Identity seems odd, but funny at the same time. As does Dockside Extortionist because my friend JD has a ridiculous enchantments deck that I'm excited to see someone crack this out in our playgroup and really take advantage of it. Cards that look a bit too good at first glance, Ignite the Future feels like it can be abused, mass diminish, just because I know it's going to ruin me in some games. And Savine's Reclamation seems crazy if paired with Increasing Vengeance. Oh look, Leadership Vacuum is here too. You know what, let's let this and Faceless Menace fight it out. We'll move on to the third deck. That would be Primal Genesis, and our commander is Girid Conclave Exile. Name of the game is populating out huge creatures, and this is probably the best flavor win of the bunch because Girid just sounds like green, white, red mashed together into a name. And Conclave Exile is a perfect title for someone who was a part of the Selesnya Conclave, but got a bit too much red going in him, probably did something pretty terrible, something primal, like smashing through a beautiful garden with massive beasts because he felt like it. But his partners in crime, like Atla Palani Nest Tender, sounds the exact opposite of what Garrett is going for, but she looks absolutely insane, just hatching eggs all over the place with unknown beasts in them. This card clearly has some serious potential and is a crowd favorite for obvious reasons. And third, we have Marissi, Breaker of the Coil, which feels like it's getting us back on track with the whole Primal Genesis phrase and forcing mayhem everywhere on the board. Top reprints include Garrick, Primal Hunter, Lightning Greaves, because you can never have too many copies of these, Feldon of the Third Path, you can do some fun stuff with Populate, and Dragon Master Outcast is a personal favorite that I'm happy to see in this deck. New cards I'm excited for, Gyrod's Belligerence looks really strong, as does Full Flowering, Selesnya Eulogist, and Oran Frostfang to help you keep up on card draw. I would have liked to see them get Thran Dynamo because they have a lot of big spells, but overall this deck looks like a lot of rampaging fun. And last, but certainly not least, is our only 2-color commander, Anya, I think is how you say it, and her ideal day out on the town is just expressing her merciless rage. This deck involves the Madness mechanic, vampires, and all kinds of family fun. Her friends that also want to paint the town red include Chainer, Nightmare Adept, who I think looks awesome and is being slept on as a pretty strong card, and Grevin, Predator Captain, who just seems really angry. Top reprints include Obnixilis Reignited, Geth, Lord of the Vault, one of the pricier reprints, Overseer of the Damned, Chaos Warp is another good card that you're happy to have in any commander deck running red, and Grimoire of the Dead fits really well in this deck too. New cards I'm excited to see are Crick, son of Yawgmoth. He looks very interesting. Anya's good friend, they call him Ravager, is probably the most madness ridding card in the deck. Nightmare Unmaking fits well with the flavor of the deck. And Bloodthirsty Blade looks like a whole lot of fun. Being able to equip your opponent's creatures with it or their commander and make them attack each other. I'm a big fan of this card. Oh, and we'll end with the honorable mention of Aeon Engine. Wizards finally got that partnership with Uno sorted out, and now I can't wait for the skip player turn cards to come, and I look forward to someone making me draw 4. I would not complain. So there we have it, Sultai with Faceless Menace and Morph cards galore, Jeskai with Mystic Intellect showing us some flashback politicking goodness, Naya with Primal Genesis creating tokens thanks to an angry guy and an egg tenderer, and Anya showing merciless, madness-filled vampire rage. So there's the highlights of all the decks, and honestly, I think they all look amazing, and after looking through them all, I'm a little bummed I wasn't able to pre-order them. If you did, I think you're going to have a ton of fun with these things. All of them look strong. Wizards clearly up the value and the strength of them. Out of the box, they look legit. These look like a lot of fun to play. But if you can only pick 1 or 2, I would say pick the one that fits your playstyle the best, because all of them have those core cards that you're going to want in commander decks. They all have good value. They all have cards that are going to be in demand for years to come, I'm assuming. I don't think there's any that's the clear head and tails favorite. Really just find the one that resonates with you the most. For me, I would go with Primal Genesis because I like the Naya Dinosaurs plant, and my wife, some of her favorite cards are from that Ixalan, Rivals of Ixalan block. And you can slot those cards in pretty easily. And I like that deck because it's not like blue, where blue often wants to stop you from doing what you want. It's about being unstoppable, untamable even, where you just run over your opponent and there's nothing they can do about it. I like that a lot. Atla, even though she's a personal favorite card of mine from this set because the whole hatching an egg and just seeing what comes out seems like a lot of fun, but the Thornbite Staff Ashnod's Altar combo just seems, it's too good. Okay, it's just too good. I don't like the idea of just easily winning turn 4 or 5. Now, of course, there's ways to interact, I get that, but I generally like games to be a bit longer. I like the politicking, having to work through some things. That's too dominant of a stampede. But you don't have to play it. Aside from that combo, again, I like the deck because it's not about stopping your opponent, it's about being unstoppable to your opponent. And then if I was to spring for a second one, I'd probably go with the Madness deck in Anya. I've just always liked Vampire Tribal. Edgar Markov was my first ever commander, which is in this purple guy right there. And I feel like Madness deserves some time in the spotlight. And I wasn't around when Madness was revealed as a mechanic, so I have some cards, but haven't had a commander deck that it made sense to use them in. And now that Anya's there as a commander, you can really take advantage of those awesome fun cards to play. So she would probably be my second choice. Again, I'd be happy with any of them though. They all seem really strong. I think Wizards did a great job with these. But with that, do you have one that you're excited to get out of the box into some sleeves and start playing with? Do you have a favorite creature or card that you're excited to start brewing with? I'll let you know my favorite down in the comments. Hope to see you there. But just thank you for watching. Hope life's treating you well. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.